May 21st, 1985. I came into this world with the illness. And although the doctors never diagnosed me and my mother was unaware, this disease has been killing me slowly from the moment that I was here. The symptoms began to emerge right from the start as I would cry uncontrollably for my mother's milk. Who would have known that the problem was really with my heart? It was enlarged. And day after day, time and time again, I would display effects of this disease as a toddler, adolescence, and even my preteens. I was 13 when my condition grew worse. Because up until now, most of my issues were internal, but here is where the outward symptoms began to emerge at first. It started with my eyes. As my vision began to blur and everyday objects began to take shapes of their own, I'm sure that I'm in need of a cure, but I'm still absent of a doctor's diagnosis. And my mother is so oblivious. Maybe it's because she was dealing with her own sickness. I remember February 7th, 1999. I decided to come up with my own remedy because I was told that if I dipped my eyes in this quote-unquote holy water, then I would be able to see. How silly. But admittedly, things seemingly got better as my vision was temporarily corrected. And I suspected that my life had changed forever, but just like on that fateful morning when those fraternal planes pierced into the Twin Towers, my sickness suddenly came back. I was under attack as my muscles began to spasm and my body moved out of control, having me do and say things that I never chose and closed inside of this frail frame of mine. It felt like a monster trying to escape. And I would lay late nights and try to comfort myself with shakes. I feared that this disease just may shorten my years as tears regularly decorated my face. I faced the fact that this just may be my reality. Maybe there's nothing out there better for me. And as I reached the closure of my teens, I can remember taking daily train rides longing to die without the courage to commit suicide. I cried. But before you sit there and start feeling sorry for me, say, oh my God, look at what he's been through, please be aware that you are sick too.
Tell the truth, brother.
Sin was the sickness that was sealing my fate. But thanks be to God that it waited too late. The date, August 15th, the year 2004, a day that started like any other. Who would have known by the end I would be reborn? The thorn that was regularly piercing my flesh, promoting death, lost its power to kill as I surrendered myself over to his will. He's real. Yes. See, Jesus was the cure to my disease. Better yet, Jesus is the cure to this disease. But we continue to ignore this sickness, which has claimed more lives than cancer, wiped out more people than the bubonic plague. Instead, we blind our eyes to this human genocide. Rather, we would believe the lie that you only live once, YOLO. But I wonder, when your eyes are resurrected in hell, would that still be your response? It once was mine. And as I take a look back over my life, I should have seen the signs. Like as an infant, when I would cry uncontrollably for my mother's milk, it was really just my flesh telling me that I should always get what I want. And don't think it stopped there, because as a toddler and adolescent, my flesh would go daily temper tantrums until it got its way, worsening as I would age, tainting the pureness of my eyes into everyday objects became fulfillment of my sexual fantasies. And sadly, my fantasies became images of pornography. Did laps around my thoughts constantly, a cul-de-sac of worry with no outlet from this sickness. I was failing in my faith because I thought that it was merit-based. But how is it that you think church is the answer when attendance has never translated into understanding? Just ask the public school system, who yearly fail our babies because they are under the impression that just because they sit in them chairs that they are actually there. But the church has failed too, because just because people sit in have understood the gospel. I say just because a man claims to have a call does not mean he has understood the gospel at all, because the gospel brings forth life. So if death still remains, it has yet to be applied right. Come on. It is ointment for our sight. It makes dead things come alive. It turns wrong things right. But through secrets and seduction to hell, many Satan has secretly lured. I said through secrets and seduction to hell, many Satan has secretly lured. Thanks be to God, I've finally been cured of my disease. How y'all doing? I'm not the Superman, I just serve the Superman. That happened to be God in flesh also. So I'm winning on both sides. I know the best man and the best God that ever lived. Can't lose. But what's been getting me right is this week, we're running into a whole lot of people saying stuff like, that's the white man's religion. Right? Christianity is the white man's religion. And the historical proof of it, sadly, is that we were worshiping our own gods in Africa before the transatlantic slave trade, and they came over and they forced their God on us. So the deity that we serve is actually the white man's God. Yeah. Right? This is the foolishness of this argument. 4 reasons. I'm going to do another poem and I'm going to be out your way. First, it's not a white man's religion, it's actually a Jewish man's religion. Come on. The God that I serve is a Jew. If you know anything about the table of nations found in Genesis chapter 10,